Welcome to the Fishbowl with everybody. My name is Chief here, and joining me today is Juicy. We're going to be doing like what we know and what we don't know about LSU football so far between all the games that they have played so far. So, without further ado, let me introduce everybody to Juicy here. How you doing today, Juicy?
What up? What up? I'm good.
All right, so let's talk about this very impressive performance last week against South Alabama for LSU. They're entering the bye week this week. So, what was some things you take away from that game, Juicy, that made you feel really good about LSU and their upcoming matchup against Ole Miss next Saturday? Not this Saturday coming up, but next Saturday.
Well, the fact that they actually, I expected them to I said this. I had said going in, this is gonna be like a big week for them. And they really played well. They executed well, played well the whole game. Actually, didn't have to struggle or wait the sec. Like they came out, offense came out, guns blazing, scored like 5 touchdowns on their first 5 possessions. Defense played well. I don't know if that's because they rallied without Harold Perkins. They rallied for him, but whatever they did, it just all seemed to click. Nothing could go wrong. For him in that game, except I know Garrett Nuss had a couple of interceptions that he kind of got reckless. Needs to work on that. But other than that, I mean, it was almost a flawless game in every aspect. It really makes you feel better about it. Going into a bye week and heading into Ole Miss, and Ole Miss, who's really like limping and struggling, has seemed to kind of slowed down since the season started. So we'll see what happens. I like the direction it's heading. We just gotta execute better with protecting the ball better.
Yeah, I mean that is something when Garrett, Nussmeier kind of was described coming into the season as a gunslinging quarterback, and that's exactly what we've seen instances where he's taken care of the ball very well. Like I mean, he's been remotely mistake free, aside from a couple of moments like the USC game opening the season where he threw a pick. South Carolina, he threw a couple that could have been picked off. And this past weekend against Alabama, there was some that he made some poor decisions and made some interceptions. So, but I do like what I saw out of like the emergence of LSU's running game through these first couple of games that we saw LSU play so far. I think having the freshman running back is doing a very good thing for LSU so far this year. So if you look at it coming up here, um, LSU is looking pretty good here so far. Looking back for the 5 games that they played so far, the opening loss 27-20 to USC, then a 44, 36, 34, and 42. They've scored over 30 points in their last 4 games. So the offense is definitely clicking for LSU. And offensively, LSU is looking really, really good. Now, the minus part of that and the ugly part of it has been the defense so far. But since Harold Perkins has been injured, it seems like the defense seems to be gelling or being more motivated to stop teams. Maybe they're not relying as much on Harold Perkins to make plays. At times, you could be in a bad situation where you realize, like, okay, I don't have to do much because this guy's an All American right next to me. Is it a little bit like a lacking thing? I don't think it really is with this defense. I think they're actually trying, but you got to remember, Brian Kelly had to, whenever he took over in 2022, he did not have that many scholarship players. He had maybe 20 to 30 on this. I'm not quite sure on the number itself, but whenever you have that few number of players on that roster, now granted, scholarship doesn't mean anything. Some of these guys could basically you just whiff in recruiting. We've seen it happen many times before, and you got to do an overhaul of the staff. That's what happened in 2022. And they made the SEC championship game against Georgia that year. So, but that was back in when the SEC had East and West division. So you
But
can
LSU's always started off slow every year. Brian Kelly's been there, and it seems to have
this is
gotten
true.
better as the season went along. And we seem to be following that same trend now.
Yeah, I mean that is true. So maybe having these warm up games, but they get better as the season usually goes along under Ryan Kelly is what I've noticed as well. They seem to peak at the end of the year. So it might benefit LSU, like style wise. If there's a trend or a pattern, you probably should follow the trend or a pattern. But I mean, that's just me talking out loud here. I mean, that would be probably get some warm up games in there. Um, like if Nichols had been the first game, then you maybe play USC or UCLA, but you still have that game under your belt where you can be like, okay, I had a warm up game. Let's get this thing going here. But now I want to see if they have any like spreads on LSU Ole Miss yet. So according to ESPN analytics for Ole Miss and LSU, Ole Miss has a 63.5% chance to win the game. Garrett Nussmeier this year has thrown 15 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions. Some LSU fans are already thinking he should be a Heisman candidate, which I mean he's done a good enough job for it. And Caden Durham, has been, the freshman, been a good standout, running about 8.4 yards a carry whenever he runs the ball. So he's doing the do. Okay, he's definitely getting into that second level of the defense, and he's really making a name for himself. On the thing we don't know about LSU so far this year is whether or not obviously, are they going to position themselves for a playoff run? How many games is LSU going to win left on the year? And how many is it going to take for them to get into the playoff? Now, this whole thing's a little bit different. Like, for them to get in the top 10, they have to beat Ole Miss, I think. I think it's almost necessary for them to beat Ole Miss or
The
Alabama.
spread's gonna change too for Ole Miss and all that. They still haven't. Usually, like the week of is like next week. It'll be probably closer to that Ole Miss game. I was just thinking
Yeah,
about.
I'm not really looking too much into the spread too much right now, but like it's well, we don't know. Like, so do you bench Sage Ryan Juicy after his performance the last couple of weeks?
Well, it's hard to say. I don't really know who's their option behind him. I mean, he does seem to get picked on and kind of
Burn
burned a
basically
lot.
at times. Yeah.
But I mean, he looks like burnt toast. But I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, they all kind of have at times, but I say give him. I say just let him go out there a little longer and see what happens. I
I
mean,
think I don't think it's a scheme issue. I think it's a talent issue in the back end, but nobody wants to say that about LSU. I think they just keep missing on secondary guys, which happens. I mean, like sometimes you just can't nail everybody, but I think they're still trying to rebuild and they're just trying to grab whoever they think they can to be a starter for right now. I don't think it's I think a talent issue in the back end is what I'm seeing. Like compare, like he might be a good starter for, um, like in the G5, like a Mac or Mount West or Sunbelt even. He's not quite up there to SEC caliber. Whenever you're playing against the best players in the country, I mean, you got to be fundamentally sound. You got to be on your P's and Q's, and you just got to have the God given ability to make those plays. And that's just what LSU is lacking, I think, in the back end in the secondary. So, look, not hating on the guys. I just think it's a talent issue. I mean, when you got guys running 4.340s out there, I mean, it's tough to keep up with them. I knew I couldn't physically do it. I know Juicy, you couldn't physically do it.
no,
But
not even close.
um, look, I think it's just a talent. Like these guys are just going out there, Speedy Gonzalez there, and they're able to run up and down the field. So um, I I think it's a talent issue in the back end. I think that's what we don't know about. Like, when's that going to be resolved? I don't think it's going to be resolved this year. I don't see that happening here. I think it's just something they're going to live with here. I don't think it's Baker's fault. I don't think it's the previous defensive coordinator's fault. I don't think it's even the previous defensive coordinator before that defensive coordinator's fault. Unless it's just if you just don't have the guys, you just don't have the guys. I think LSU fans need to accept that. What you think, Juicy?
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I think some of that too. Like he's still trying to finished building from when he only got like this is like his third year I think at LSU or is it his fourth year? I can't remember.
With Brian Kelly,
Yeah.
this is his third season. He's starting
Well,
his third.
I think he's still trying to like trying to finish getting more scholarship players to run in there and stop having to get out the transfer portal, which I think because he only had so few scholarship players left when he got there, I think he's still trying to finish building from that.
I think you need to start seeing positive progress next year, though. I think he's running out of time on that, though. LSU's not going to wait on him to figure it out. Give him 4 or 5 years. I think um, it's a tough spot to be in because you had 30 scholarship players, and that's all. Like you have 22, starters on a football field, and not every scholarship player is going to pan out for you. If you're looking at metrics here, you know, like I like to use the Justin Jefferson story. Justin Jefferson, known as a prolific receiver at LSU, but I think he was only a 2-star prospect or 3-star. I think it's 2 though. But you understand what I'm saying? It's not 5-star prospects that make your roster go buku for Coco for Cocoa Puffs or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
but I think that is something that you look at that way. You don't have to look at the stars here. You're gonna have 5-star prospects and he comes out to be nothing. So look, like I said before, if you got players in the transfer portal, there's a reason why they're in the transfer portal. I don't think that unless like majority of the time, there's a reason why they're in there because they wasn't good enough to be starter at that school, so they're trying to be starter somewhere else. Now, granted, sometimes like you might find the diamond in the rough that a coach just misjudged. Okay, like you hear stories about I like to use the Joe Burrow coming to LSU story. Joe Burrow wasn't Joe Burrow his first year at LSU. He had to get playing time to develop them skills to get to be 2019 Heisman winning quarterback Joe Burrow. 2018, he was just, I would say, all right. Would you say Juicy?
Yeah, he was okay. He was kind of just like a guy that was playing uh he was playing
Game management.
chess and everybody else is playing checkers.
Yeah.
I
But
mean, the potential was there, especially I mean, you could always see it was there. He was clutch. He he would always stay he never got rattled. You could always see it was there. It kind of didn't surprise me that much.
yeah, that's something that you have to look at. Um I didn't realize I didn't build up that graphic there. But the LSU bye week, what we know, what we don't know. I think that's kind of sums up this episode. Is there anything that you have any questions about, Juice, that you don't think we really know enough about that we ain't talking about yet?
No, I think
We're gonna do the top
that's
25 picks. Obviously, that's still gonna be
that's
a
the
thing.
major thing I could think of. I mean, I think that's
I did. I look. I looked at it here, and I feel like what we know here is there's obviously trouble in the back end, and what we don't know is like this team. I think there's what we kind of start with the trend is they start off slow and they get better as the year progresses, which is usually what a football team does. If you start off hot, then you fall apart. Then it's not going to end up being very good for you at the end of the year. That's how you end up becoming like 3 and 9 or something. Um, but I think LSU's got a really good chance to beat Ole Miss on Saturday on the 12th of October in Baton Rouge. So that's something there.
yeah, especially since Ole Miss took that huge
So that
upset loss to
yeah,
Kentucky.
but I do think Ole Miss is going to be really really motivated though. I don't, but I feel like to make it to the
We'll see.
college
Though
football.
Ole Miss does play this weekend, unlike LSU. LSU's got a bye week. Ole Miss plays South Carolina this week.
Yeah, we're gonna find out how good South Carolina really is, which I think they're better than what people are giving them credit for though. I mean, they tore up Akron. They beat Kentucky. They tore up Kentucky earlier in the year, 31-6. South Carolina did. Um. So yeah, I'm curious about how that's gonna go. Uh, if if South Carolina beats Ole Miss, that'd be wild. I think South Carolina is a very underrated football team, though, which would make everybody feel better about the whole situation if you look at it that way.
Oh, if they lose to South Carolina or get beat pretty decently by them, then I'm definitely gonna say LSU's gonna beat them for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you just never know about how that's gonna go. All right, let's do a top. Let's do some game picks. Juicy, you ready? Week 6. Let's do it.
Let's get it.
Um. All right, so let's go pull this back up here real quick. Oh, in other news, Les Miles' lawsuit got moved from federal court to state court. So,
Oh, I didn't know that. Huh.
if you are following that case, we got the article pulled up from ESPN on our Fishbowl pages. So, go look at our Facebook and Twitter, and they'll be there for your pleasure to read about and get more in details about. So, anyway, uh, Michigan State or number 6, Oregon. I'm going with Oregon in this one, Juicy. I don't think it'd be close. What you thinking?
Michigan State, I think. No, I'm joking.
Man, bro, you about to give me a heart attack, bro. Like this
I
guy has
got,
insider information that I don't know about.
no, I got Oregon winning this one.
Okay. Syracuse versus number 25 UNLV. The UNLV's been in the news lately with their, 3-0 starting quarterback deciding to like basically get out of there. They did win without him last week, but man, I think it's Syracuse, man. I'm calling an upset technically. I think Syracuse gets it. What you thinking, Juicy?
I'm gonna go with UNLV on this one. I'm not ready to pull. I'm not confident enough yet.
Man, like you been in the news, is some distractions going on for sure. That's my whole thing. I think distractions might get to him this week. UCLA versus number 7, Penn State. I got Penn State winning this one. Shouldn't be close. What you thinking, Juicy?
Oh yeah, I got Penn State.
Number 9, Missouri taking on number 25, Texas A&M. Texas A&M is actually favored in this one by 2.5 points here. They're at home A&M, which is going to give them an advantage. But I got the Tigers of Missouri. What you thinking, Juicy?
I'm kind of scared after Missouri almost got upset by Vandy. I'm kind of scared to pick them. I'm gonna go with A&M in this
Hey, and I
one.
respect it, man. I respect it. SMU taking on number 22, Louisville. Give me Louisville. What you thinking, Juicy?
Yeah, I got Louisville.
Iowa taking on number 3, Ohio State. I would love Iowa to win this one. Ohio State hasn't really played anybody yet this year, but I'm gonna pick them and give them the benefit of the doubt. What you thinking, Juicy?
I'm gonna go with the Buckeyes. I know Ohio State ain't played nobody. Iowa really hasn't exactly played a gauntlet either. I got Ohio State.
Auburn taking number 5, Georgia. Look, so I got Auburn winning this one.
Yeah, right.
I'm joking. I got Georgia winning this one. But I am disappointed in Georgia though. Letting Alabama jump on you like that.
I look at it as on the opposite side of the spectrum. I look at it as Georgia didn't give up, and it shows a lot about Georgia to me. They came back into this game. I thought it was really over for sure.
So you going with Georgia?
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Number 12, Ole Miss versus South Carolina. Man, if Ole Miss would have beat Kentucky, I probably would have picked South Carolina. As crazy that sounds, right? Because I think South Carolina is a better team than people are giving them credit for this year. But I'm gonna go with Ole Miss though. What you thinking, Juicy?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ole
I think
Miss,
it's close
man.
though.
I was tempted to do it, but I'm gonna go with Ole Miss.
like this would have been an upset pick if the Kentucky game didn't happen. Number 23, Indiana versus Northwestern. I got Indiana. Indiana's looked really good this year. Also, James Madison's former head coach, and a lot of their transfers are from there. What you thinking, Juicy?
Yeah, I got Indiana. Northwestern's look pretty terrible this year.
Number one, Alabama taking on Vanderbilt here in the Quiz Bowl. So I got Vanderbilt's Quiz Bowl team.
Uh,
I'm
either
joking.
Vandy,
I'm joking.
e-
This is a football game, right? So Alabama's gonna win it.
either Vandy's really underestimated or Missouri's overrated because Vandy took Missouri to overtime. So it's one of those two, but I'm still gonna go with Alabama. But
Yeah, I
we don't
think
see if
I
Vandy does the same thing that Bama they did to Missouri, then I'll definitely
I don't
say
think they're gonna
Vandy's
take them to
just
overtime though. I think if Vanderbilt's within 10 points of Alabama at the end of the game when this whole thing is said and done, I don't care if they put their backups in. It's not a good look for Missouri at all.
hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if A&M beat Missouri anyway. I mean, that's all I know is we're gonna get some of these picks wrong because college football is just a good way of doing this. Number 15, Clemson taking on Florida State. So Florida State's got a new starting quarterback.
Thank God.
Um, yeah, so we'll see how that goes for them there. It's been a disaster of a year for them, especially after all the complaining they did early in the year. Oh, we should have got in and stuff, and maybe they deserved it
Well,
last year.
rightfully
I don't
so.
know.
They should have got in. I think last year. I mean, they had a really good team last year.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see though. Give me Clemson though. I think Dabo and them get it done. What you thinking?
Yeah, I like Clemson. Yeah.
Utah State taking number 21, Boise State. I got Boise State winning this one. What you thinking,
Yeah,
Juicy?
yeah, I got Boise State. This ain't even gonna be close. They've looked really good. I think their running back is actually probably a serious Heisman candidate. He's got like 80 rushes for. He's got almost 1,000 rushing yards on the season already. We're only 4 games in.
Yeah, Ashton Genty, 82 carries
Something
for
like that.
845 yards and
Yeah, he's
13
almost got a
touchdowns.
thousand yards already.
Yeah, he's averaging over 10 yards a carry. Number 4, Tennessee taking on Arkansas. I like Tennessee this year, man. They look really good this year. I've been impressed with them since they kicked off the season. So I'm thinking Tennessee wins this one. What you thinking, Juicy?
Yeah, I got Tennessee. Even though they slowed down a lot against Oklahoma when they played, they only scored 25 points.
It might just be a one game fluke though. We'll see as it goes along though. Number 10, Michigan taking on Washington. Um, I'm going Washington, dude. I think Michigan gets upset. It.
Think so, huh?
Wait, what you said?
I said, you think so?
Yeah. What
I
you
know
thinking?
Washington's favored. Uh, I'm gonna go with Michigan. I think it's gonna be close, though. I'm not gonna do the upset, but I think it's gonna be close.
Number 11, USC taking on Minnesota. I got USC winning this one. What you thinking?
I got USC.
Baylor versus number 16, Iowa State. Um, I got Iowa State winning this one. I think Dave Aranda. This is last year in Waco.
I got Iowa State.
Number 8, Miami taking on Cal. Game day's over there, which I thought
Yeah,
was
why is
interesting.
game day over there?
Uh, I mean, there's not that many like big games, I would say, so I guess it makes sense.
Well,
I would
A
have
and M and
chose,
Missouri is a top
but they
25.
already been at A&M, so I mean they couldn't go there twice. That's why.
What you mean? They went to Tennessee like 3 times one year.
But I mean you want to spread it around a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean
sure. They never been. They've never actually.
ESPN has SEC Nation. They would just send them over there.
They've never been to Berkeley, from what I understand. So
Give me to you, bro. What you thinking, Juicy?
yeah, I'm gonna go with Miami. They looked a little in trouble against Virginia Tech, but I still think they're a pretty good team.
All right. Well, I think we kind of covered what we got. What we thought, what we know so far. So thank y'all for tuning in. Hope you have a great, wonderful day. And we're gonna see y'all here next time on the Fishbowl Radio. Have a good night, Fishbowl Nation.
Good night.